Forbes India presents Crypto Made Easy, powered by CoinDCX.
Hello and welcome to the special series Forbes India presents Crypto Made Easy, powered by CoinDCX. I'm your host, Paramita Chatterjee. And the theme for today's discussion is driving the Web3 change in India. And to discuss that, we have with us a very special guest, Ramalingam Subramanian, who's the head of brand marketing and communications at CoinDCX. Thanks so much, Ram, for joining us. So here we are having a discussion about crypto and digital assets, but what role do they hold, especially as far as the future is concerned, when we take into account the current crypto winter into consideration?
See, the future in a single line for me would be the future is still bright. Um, Whenever there is a bullish cycle, there are people who would come in to cash in on it, and some of them would work with a strong thesis, some of would may not. And if you think from an trading perspective, any asset that is traded has volatility built into it, and it follows a similar bullish bearish pattern. So I'm not too worried about the future of Web3 and crypto by this current crypto winter. In a way, it's also a boon because the good projects, the committed people will stay and build during this phase. So it's in a way a good thing for the future of the industry. And also, if you are investing, and purely I'm not talking about investing use case, if you're investing in this space in the virtual assets, you should have a long-term horizon for your portfolio. And I feel people who have done that consistently over the last couple of bull bear cycles in the crypto space have actually fared well. So more than it being worrying, obviously the portfolios are red, even mine, but keeping on with it, having your belief in the thesis that brought you into the space, I think that is much better for the future of crypto and Web3.
In fact, talking about the future, if the future is going to be centered around these digital assets, particularly in India, how do you think the future generation will really be able to thrive in this environment, given the fact that their knowledge about crypto and digital assets is quite limited?
True, education is critical in this space, right? While we were thinking of how do we go about expanding in India and how do we capture the market, one thing which was very clear and set in stone per se for us is that we need to educate first to earn the right to acquire, right? So that was something that was very clear from the brand to every marketeer out there within the CoinDCX team. And that's the reason why even before we launched our mass app, which is the CoinDCX app, in 2021, in 2020 June we first launched the DCX Learn product. And education is very critical, especially in investments, because beyond like if you don't really understand what you're doing, if you don't really understand a thesis why you're investing, it's difficult for you to see some pattern, see some direction in your investments. Beyond that, without understanding the space, at CoinDCX, we generally do not recommend people to go ahead and make investments without learning the space. And over the past 4 years that we have been in existence, we have been constantly participating in various forums to educate. A series like this definitely helps. But we need to educate at multiple levels, right? Educate at the retailer level, educate at people who comment on the industry, educate with our cybersecurity forces, educate with regulators, so that we have a holistic understanding of the space. And I feel it is very critical if you are thinking about setting up a new industry in India, which is a vision that we aspire to. We need to start with education.
So, talking about investors, one segment of investors which is really growing is the Gen Z and the millennials, so to speak. So, what additional steps need to be taken collectively in order to make this particular segment, this Gen Z segment, better equipped related to crypto and its adoption?
So when you talk about that age group, right, that's generally the age group in which India is, right? India is in this particular demographic segment, and are also in a space where they are able to now start thinking of disposable income, start thinking of their future, and so on and so forth. What we need to also understand is education has also evolved. The way people today consume content, the way people educate themselves, equip themselves, has also undergone a change, and we need to be cognizant to that, right? We can't just go ahead and create courses. We can't just go ahead and create certification programs. Now, that would also be needed, but for this particular segment, they are very much internet savvy, content first, and we need to then reach out to them in the mediums that they are consuming content. So we have a lot of education that we do on, for example, our Insta account, right? We do a lot of stuff on our YouTube channel. We do have written content, but also on these social channels we are working. While we improve on these aspects, we are also using the community approach, right? And this is something that I had shared a while back. We had an Odia uh, um, influencer and a community admin, right, who wrote to us one fine day, and he said, I would want to educate my small community of 15,000 people who would understand stuff only in Odia, right? And this was a very interesting challenge for us, and I'm talking about roughly 2.5 years back, when we went ahead and started educating in local content and in local dialects with using these community leaders. Similar example came in when one fine gentleman reached out to me on LinkedIn and requested for a course in sign language. So we need to now start thinking, right, how we want to provide this form of knowledge to people, and come up with interesting newer ways to reach this particular audience. They are well equipped, they are uh, eager to learn. What we need to provide is education at that in the form and format that they would want to consume.
Very interesting, the approach that you're taking. So clearly it can't be a linear approach when it comes to educating the Gen Z segment of investors. Now we are here today to talk really about the future of Web 3.0, and the future. In that future, what role do digital assets, crypto assets play in this? And one of the key terms that comes up is blockchain, which is really at the heart of it all, isn't it? So explain to us, the linkages therein when we talk about Web 3.0, which is the future of the internet. It's built on blockchain technology. How do digital assets and crypto assets tie into this entire sort of domain?
So Web 1.0 was something where we were able to consume content that someone put on the internet. Web 2.0, where we could engage and interact. Web 3.0 is where you start owning and expressing yourself on the digital space, right? And that's the difference that is coming into picture. As you rightly said, blockchain is the backend technology on which all these products are being built today. And there are multiple such use cases that can be created. One fine example that I like to quote is, if I had an option to decide how my data is being utilized, maybe to serve ads, maybe to personalize content for me, maybe to personalize my experience on the internet. Now, this is happening to an extent, but the control is with few centralized tech giants out there, right? How can I have the control back in my hand, right? And crypto or digital assets play a role here, where I can probably use my digital asset to express myself on the internet. One example is about a particular browser called Brave, developed by the folks of at Mozilla Firefox. One of their assets called Basic Attention Token to control the way your data is being utilized to target you with advertising. And I can decide, okay, I will use my tokens to not have or have a 1 hour 2 hour ad free time on the internet where none of my data is being utilized, or and I can then also decide, okay, like, I'm fine, give me personalization, give me 1 hour of ad content. I can do that, I can express myself, and I can do a lot more. Now this entire concept of decentrally administered organization is coming up, where the entire organization is run by community. Right now, it seems a bit idealistic that the entire community can do it, and there have been experiments about this in the past. The only difference now is we have been able to improve the efficiency of internet by uh, removing certain aspects which still required physical validation. Now that can actually happen in the digital world because of blockchain as a backend, and because of which today there could be community run large organizations, and this could really be a game changer in the future, contrary to the belief, right, where the sovereignty of nations is under threat. I feel the sovereignty of nations can be uh, uh, very strong in the digital world, where today that is missing.
And it's not, the powers to be are not vested in just a few large players. I mean, this is really democratizing the entire sort of internet, so to speak, with Web 3.0, because as you said, this really belongs to the next generation, the young generation. So what advice would you give them? I mean, as they're listening to this conversation, I can sense that excitement which is there, because they all want to break in and step into the digital asset industry. What advice would you give them, and how would you motivate them to really step into this world?
So step one, I would definitely recommend people is to look beyond just the trading or volatility aspect of the industry. There is a definite use case. People should look at that. People should form a strong thesis, and basis which they can start entering. There are multiple options today available. Crypto and blockchain and Web3 as an industry has opened up multiple roles across the world. You could be a part of a big multicultural team. You can learn from each other, and that's eventually the larger goal, where you work together as a community and are able to grow very quickly in your careers, right? Simple advice: don't come in for the crazy volatility out there for multiple x of returns. And this is not something because it's in a bearish state today. In general, you should come in for a long term thesis that resonates with you, right? And trust me, you're giving your time, which is also as valuable as anything else. And think out from that aspect also, how you're going to equip yourself with education, with the right resources, and how do you move forward.
Great. Those are some pertinent words of advice. And clearly, the future is there for this future generation. It's for their taking. Thank you so much, Ram, for joining us for this enlightening conversation. And we wish you the very best, and especially in terms of driving the change when it comes to Web 3.0 and crypto assets.
Forbes India presents Crypto Made Easy, powered by CoinDCX.
Crypto products and NFTs are unregulated and can be highly risky. There may be no regularity recourse for any loss from such transactions.